The diplomatic accomplishment last September when it was formally elected to chair the Group of 77 and China at the 48th annual meeting held at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Iraq assumed the presidency of the Group of 77 and China on Monday, taking over Uganda. The bloc, which includes 134 developing nations, and China is the largest coalition within the United Nations. Mohamed Ibaro tells us more.
The Group of 77, or G77, is a coalition of developing countries that works together to promote their economic interests and negotiate with the United Nations. The G77 is the largest intergovernmental organization of developing countries in the UN. The group consists of a diverse set of states with a common South-South ideology. There were 77 founding members of the organization headquartered in Geneva, but it has since expanded to 134 member countries. Uganda holds its chairmanship for 2024, succeeding Cuba. The handing over ceremony was attended by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and various member states. This marks a pivotal moment for the 134-member coalition that seeks to amplify the voices of developing countries within the United Nations. Uganda has officially handed over the presidency of the G77 and China to Iraq at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Iraqi Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fuad Hussein, accepted the presidency on behalf of his country from Uganda's delegation. Speaking at the ceremony, Hussein highlighted Iraq's priorities for its presidency. He promised to work on enhancing collective efforts to deal with the effects of climate change on developing countries. We will work on enhancing collective efforts to deal with the effects of climate change on developing countries and to ensure international support to implement climate adoption changes and to support climate financing for developing countries to adapt with climate change and the use of renewable and sustainable energy and the protection of national resources and leading with the certification and protecting biodiversity that many member states are affected by. Addressing the gathering, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the world is living through a period of devastating conflicts and violence from Gaza to the wider Middle East, to the Sahel, to Ukraine, and beyond.
We are living through a period of devastating conflicts and violence, from Gaza to the wider Middle East, to the Sahel, to Ukraine, and beyond. A period of climate disasters that have battered many of your countries with deadly heat waves, melting glaciers, droughts, rising seas, floods and storms, while constraining already limited fiscal space and erasing development gains. A period in which the Sustainable Development Goals and the futures of millions of people around the world hang in the balance. For too long, in too many ways, developing countries have been handed a raw deal on finance, in which development is deferred time and again by a lack of adequate and affordable finance and grinding cycles of debt service. A raw deal on climate support, with countries denied the resources required to build resilience and avert climate catastrophe they did little to cause. And a raw deal on representation at key decision-making bodies, from the global financial architecture to the governance of groundbreaking technology to the UN Security Council itself.
The G77 was established on 15 June 1964 by 77 developing countries, signatories of the Joint Declaration of the 77 developing countries issued at the end of the session of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in Geneva. The G77 has so many achievements. This includes promoting economic and social development, which creates new institutions like UNIDO and IFAD, and has helped to develop new rules and guidelines. The coalition has also played a role in the adoption of UN agreements, such as the Generalized Scheme of Reference and the Charter of Economic Rights and Duties. The G77 has also helped to create new bodies like the Sustainable Development Commission, and has helped to develop plans to help poor countries. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Mamadi Baro.